Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. The last video we did, I had a goat breach the fence on the other side where my neighbor has his cows. Thankfully it worked out fine, but it reminded me that I haven't done a fence line walk in the girl pen for a long time either. And so we need to do that. And we haven't done a goat walk by the pond in a long time either. So I have my baby camera with me today, the collar cam. I'm gonna stick this on with Cactus Molly here, who is integrating with the herd quite well. It's not perfect yet, but her perspective should be interesting to see. Hey Molly girl, you wanna wear this? Okay, we're good to go. Are the rest of y'all coming? They may or may not. Looks like I forgot to shut off the pig wallow. Well, that's plenty full, huh? Usually I'll start walking and they'll follow. Another thing that I want to make sure that I look at is it hasn't rained in a long time, and it's very common for summer for us, except for it actually did rain quite well in the beginning of the year, and now we finally started to dry up in August. And I'm wondering a little bit if it means that we're gonna have to start feeding hay earlier. It kind of looks like it. So we're gonna check on the forage status out here as well. I do have some long stuff, so that's good. Forage quality does also decrease as the year goes on. You've got really great quality nutrition and sugars and proteins and all that in the beginning of the year, and as the year progresses you get less and less. So there's that to consider as well. You know, I'm wondering if we're going to see any rye pop up. I feel like we should see that pretty soon now that we've started to cool down a little bit. I am also looking at their rumens. Now some of them are pregnant, like Foxy's huge because she's full of babies. So is Margie, look at her. Oh my gosh. Buzzy, we've got rumen sticking out here that looks pretty good. Tori's rumen looks good. She's not pregnant or bred. We might not have to feed hay quite yet. What I am seeing is our broom sedge starting to come up. It's something that they will eat, but they don't like to eat it. It's kind of fibrous. It's not that nutritious. And I probably need Levi to come mow it down so that it doesn't overshadow the ryegrass that I hope comes back. Not from roots, because what I planted was annual ryegrass, but it absolutely did go to seed. At Winnie's little udderbug. The duckweed's growing great. I hear some people will grow duckweed for chicken food because it's like 40% protein or something like that. There's a ton of bullfrogs, which we knew were here. Is that scaring you guys? When we do get our droughts going on, the pond, which is quite large, it's about an acre, it will, Molly, oh Lord have mercy. Well, Come here, girl. You just hang out with me and just chill. Anyways, it will recede and dry up. Right now it's quite muddy, but then grass, like a whole pasture, will grow on the shallow end of the pond over here. So it's kind of nice that our pasture can be somewhat drought resistant. The frogs are scaring them. There they go again. Because even though the entire pasture won't grow, what used to be the pond will grow grass, and it'll grow nicely because it's, you know, really, really fertile. Winnie, oh my gosh, unkind. See, there's a lot of green here. This is what turns into pasture when it needs to. I just heard Molly's camera shut off, so we'll take it. Thank you. I do have a second channel for the POV or point of view videos for our goats and our cats. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it below. If she happened to take a decent enough video to make a full video over there, I will link that too. Good afternoon. It is Saturday, and I filmed the garden tour that posted earlier this week. I filmed it this morning and noticed that we had a type of caterpillar on the passion vine where this butterfly species relies on the passion flower in order to reproduce. Now, problem being, they're on this little plant here, and we'll see if we can find them. I hope we can. Here's one right here. They are safe to touch from what I understand, and what I would like to do is actually move them over to this plant because this is a lot bigger. There we go. I'm going to stick it on this one. I want them to be able to eat the plant that they need in order to survive, but this one's a lot bigger so we can handle the pressure a little bit more. I started these ones from seed and just transplanted them over here not that long ago, and so I fear that if they're completely defoliated that they might not come back. We've got some little baby fruits. Than it had to be, mostly because it hasn't rained in a long time. So I had to drive those posts with a little mini sledgehammer. But I've had these little Nigerian dwarf bucklings that I got from my friend Megan almost 2 weeks ago at this point. Actually, I think today it is 2 weeks since we've had them, and it's taking me this long to set up a little pen for them outside. That's okay, I can open this door right here and let them out, and they can have fresh grass. They haven't had that in a little while. Before I let them out though, I do want to close this gap. I couldn't put the fencing up close to the barn because this post is actually concreted in, and so my T-post was gonna hit concrete. So I've gotta find something to block that. And then I may not want this thing blowing into it. Is that gonna work? I don't know, we'll find out. Oh, these little boys are electric trained, but they had like a 3-strand wire. I don't know if they have seen electric netting yet. Hey boys! They are a little skittish. Go on, go out the door. Now, I didn't turn it on yet. I need to get out first. Uh-oh. Hang on, dude. Looks like they'll probably need to be trained. All right, it's on now. Seriously? The shock does a pulse, so if they touch it in between pulses, it's not gonna zap them. What was that? That was a light little tap, huh? I think they're gonna be all right. I'm gonna hang out a little bit longer just to make sure that they're okay. I don't want them to get caught up in this fencing because it is going to continue shocking them if they get stuck in it, and that sounds horrific. But I want to check and see. I did end up feeding the boys some hay today because their pasture is dying back just as fast as the girl pasture, and they don't have like the benefit of being near the pond, which is a little bit drought resistant. So I want to see how much of the hay they've eaten. We've got Mooch over here right now. Hey Boo. How'd you do with your hay today? Can I see? The rest of the clan is out there. They're probably gonna come running because these boys are so needy. But, okay. They have left some of the hay. Actually, there's quite a lot of hay left in here. This is not the best quality hay. This is the kind of hay quality, though, that I like to feed in the summertime and around this time of year because I do have some kind of forage out there. This stemmy stuff isn't a huge deal to feed this time of year, but that's not something that I would want to feed as like a sole forage. Like in the middle of winter or something, that would not be ideal. Obviously, it's better than nothing. But we're not seeing a whole lot of nice green leafy material. It's very stemmy and this light color. Not the best quality, but they've got the option. Hey, what do you guys think of that hay? It's not that great, right? Actually, down here, we have a little bit more greenery than what really is going on out there. It's just basically a lot of broom sedge. This exact spot where their house is kind of the low spot, and irrigation runoff from the greenhouse does come down here, so it stays greener over here. You boys make me so stinky. Oh, gracious. Gracious, Bear. What do you think of this hay? It's not that good, is it? Hey guys, so we are having some friends over today and we're going to cook some bratwurst and basically have them like hot dogs. And I've made the Zimmerman hamburger buns on the channel before. This is the same dough except for I'm going to roll it up for hot dog buns. Really excited because we have access to so many like Amish bulk food stores here. We do have access to pretty inexpensive bread products, but since we started making a lot of our own bread products, we're kind of ruined for the store-bought product. These are just so much better and actually pretty easy. So here's the ingredients. Go ahead and take a screenshot. Sorry about my handwriting. And then here's the directions of what exactly to do. So I'm at the spot right now where this dough is all together and it just needs to rise for 10 minutes. And if you're wondering who I'm watching while I'm kneading the bread, Asia at Yellow Door Urban Homestead. She was keeping me company this morning. I might have to cut this in half. I doubled the recipe so that we would have plenty. But I don't know if I've got the counter space to really roll this out. We'll see. Now, I rewatched Ruth Ann Zimmerman's video on the hot dog buns this morning, and she said to roll them out a little thicker than you do for the hamburger buns. And the hamburger buns are rolled out at a 1/2 inch. So yeah, the handle fell out of my rolling pin probably 10 years ago. I've gotten used to it. I don't need a new one. It's such a lovely smooth dough. So I'm gonna do what Ruth Ann did, which is to cut out a piece of dough using a wide mouth canning jar lid, And this is just for size. So if we were to cook these as hamburger buns, this is what we would do. Set this on the pan and let this rise. But we are doing hot dog buns, so I'm gonna roll this up. Like so. Stick it on the pan. I actually forgot I was taking a video, but they're in the oven now. They rose for 30 minutes, and now I've got them cooking in here for approximately 12. What I'm looking for is an internal temperature between 190 and 200. Buns are a little bit darker than others just because of where they were positioned in the oven, but this is what we have. They're still hot, but I can't resist warm bread. Beautiful. If I rip it in half, get a good idea of the texture. We are ruined for store-bought bread at this point. Afternoon. So as you have seen, Levi did go out and mow where we've got a lot of broom sedge out in the girl pasture. He's working on the boy pasture too. The broom sedge came up earlier this year, and I don't really know what could trigger that besides the cooler weather that we've had. And we are heating up a little bit, but I wanted to get ahead on the broom sedge because if you don't, it'll tend to set seed, and even when it's green and you mow it down, it'll blow these little seeds everywhere, and that's how we get much more broom sedge next season. But we're in the girl barn right now. Things are crazy. We're definitely getting into that time of year. But I need some manure because I have a couple garden beds, actually 4, that need amending. I've already got 1 bucket of goat manure up there, and I need 3 more, 1 per bed. Something to show you. This is why I don't touch the green stalk in the middle of season. See that in there? That's big problems. That's, oh, there's one in there, and there's one right in the pocket next door. I don't know what to do. Obviously I'm not spraying that, but the nest is big enough to where there's gonna be always somebody hanging out on it. So do you just knock it down? Maybe with the bee suit on. But yeah, those guys will get mean coming up here soon because they're gonna be having fewer and fewer protein meals available. I freaking hate wasps. So that right there is how all these beds are getting amended. We've got 3 bags of soil going down, the bucket of manure from the barn, and then another bag of soil on top. The manure from the barn is quite like powdery and silty, and I need that top layer to kind of help weigh it down so it doesn't go anywhere. We want all those nutrients to stay in the bed, but I also do want those nutrients kind of closer to the top. This is something that I have learned in the last few years, that it doesn't really do the bed any good to put the manure closer to the bottom. It takes the plant's roots a lot longer to get to the bottom, and if you don't give them the nutrition to grow the roots, they can't necessarily access that nutrition anyway. So putting the manures and things closer to the top, naturally when you water the bed, those nutrients trickle down through the entirety of the soil mass, and that's definitely better all around. It's time to harvest this bad boy. The plants in there and the grass are really starting to die back fast, and I didn't want it to get sunburned. I think I'm only going to amend that one bed today. There's a lot of wasps out today, and it's because it is kind of hot and humid. I'll deal with the rest of the beds when it's a little bit cooler. That works well for two reasons. It's cooler for me, and the wasps tend to fly a lot less in the morning. Good afternoon. We just had a glorious thunderstorm come through, and yesterday we got a very good downpour with over an inch of rain, and I'm so grateful that Levi mowed the field, because that means that all the excess grass and things that are kind of laying on the top are now kind of worked down in. Obviously the field is now watered, and hopefully our fall grasses can start growing. We're having another beautiful Kentucky sunset. I feel like our grass has greened up overnight with the rain that we got. Yeah, here's a look at the boys' pasture. Essentially all of it is mowed. That doesn't mean that there's nothing for the boys to eat though. They have been out, I've seen them today, mostly towards the edge of the pasture. But there are still green things out here, and it's about 6 inches in length. So hopefully with the rain and the cooler weather coming, our fall and winter grasses will start coming up. And this area in particular usually has a lot of green growth over the whole winter. In between rainstorms, I did get the rest of the garden beds amended, so we are gonna go ahead and fill these tonight. My starts are getting really big in their start pots, and the goal was to have all of them planted by September. So here we are. Check these out though. Look at the tromboncino. Nice and big. They are growing what appears to be several inches a day, which is exciting. So we have run out of light outside, which makes me sad this time of year, but it means that we do much more inside projects. Now, I've had this fermented hot sauce going for I don't really know how long. All I know is that this is one of those times that I really wish we had smell-o-vision. This has the most amazing smell, and I can't place it because I have fermented hot sauce before. I have fermented things like carrots before, but what I really haven't fermented a lot of before is onions, and there's quite a few onions in this hot sauce mix. What I have here are my habanero and jalapeno cross peppers down here, onions, and then I had a little bit of space that I needed to fill, and I used carrots. There's probably also garlic in here, but it's time to blitz this up. What it smells like is, you know, and this is gonna sound strange, but you know when you've got like ramen noodles, the chicken flavor ramen noodles cooking, and that lovely flavor, but there's something else in it as well. It's amazing smelling. That might not be appealing to everybody, but it's got that umami. Now, we've talked about this before. This is cam yeast and is totally fine. And I can't remember who it was that I was speaking to about fermented onions. Whoever it was told me that they were amazing, and I think we're gonna start some because now I really have to know. So I know a lot of you have seen me do this before, but we've got a lot of new people on the channel as of late. So what I'm gonna do is actually blitz this up in order to make our hot sauce. It still smells good, but I will say it has lost a little bit of that like lovely umami scent. Woo! Spicy, but with flavor, and that is what's important. This one doesn't have any of the jalapenos in it, and it does have a brighter flavor. Now, some of that could be contributed by, you know, the onions and things like the carrots, but I feel like the peppers, those tater peppers that we have, do have a brighter flavor, a more fruity flavor, and I think that comes from the habanero side. I do plan on canning this, and this isn't some kind of approved recipe for canning. I choose to break the rules a little bit, and I take comfort in taking the pH of my hot sauce so that I know it's safe for canning, at least to my standard. Now, without adding any vinegar, we just have the fermentation lactic acid going on here. My hot sauce is reading at a 3.5, which is safe for water bath canning. Again, this is something that I have determined is okay for me. This is not something that is officially approved, but I'm gonna go ahead and heat this up and can this up. The reason that I'm heating it is so that my jars don't break when I go ahead and steam can them, but also because this is fermented and it is still living, if I don't make sure that I kill all the beneficial bacteria that's in the hot sauce right now, it will continue to ferment as it sits on the shelf. That's gonna create gases and my seal is going to fail. At the end of the day, we don't have like a beneficial probiotic product here, but we do have a really great homemade hot sauce. An alternative to canning, if you're not comfortable doing so, is to put this in the refrigerator. It will continue to ferment, but not nearly at the same rate as it does at room temperature. We have kept hot sauce in the refrigerator for up to 3 years, and it's been perfectly fine. We haven't taken it beyond that, so for all I know, it could last longer than that, but if it's growing anything funny that makes you uncomfortable, don't eat it, but it should last a real long time in the fridge. So now we're up to a boil. I'm gonna let this boil for a couple minutes, and then I'll jar it up. That gorgeous color. Oh, it's beautiful. Haven't fed my sourdough starter in a couple days. I know a lot of recipes say that you need to be using your starter when it is bubbly and active. This is another rule that I break, and I find that my starter is strong enough to where it handles this mistreatment quite well. Actually, I used to only make sourdough bread in the wintertime because that's the only time I felt like I had time for it. But also, I really had a hard time kind of maintaining my starter and trying to figure out how to not let it overproof in the summertime. And using a less than ideal starter, so a starter that maybe is a little bit flat, is one of those tricks because it's not so active that the dough is just gonna proof really, really fast. It does take a little bit longer, but when it's also warmer, it kind of balances out in my experience. And also, I haven't weighed anything in a long time, either to feed the sourdough with or to make my bread with. And foregoing that is one of the ways that I was able to kind of get over the mental hurdle that was sourdough. I just go by consistency as far as how I feed the sourdough starter. It's going to be harder to see, but it's a little bit too loose right now. I want it like a thick pancake batter, and it's more like, you know, a regular pancake batter right now. So we just need a little more flour. Running low on lard. I do have some in the freezer, but not enough for the bread tonight, so we need to improvise a little bit. My recipe for 2 loaves of bread calls for 3 tablespoons of some kind of fat. So we've got maybe half of that in lard. My second choice for a fat, if I had it, was room temperature butter, and I don't have any of that right now either. So I'm gonna use this extra light tasting olive oil. About that much. This time of year we kind of have to stretch our milk a little bit because I'm not getting a whole lot, and so we will save and use the whey from making yogurt and things. Most of the time I use the whey in baking, but you can use it to do things like boil pasta. I find that it adds too much sweetness to it, so baking is my preference for our whey. I've heated this up some in the microwave. Not too much because we don't want to kill the sourdough. 6 cups of red flour, 2 cups of whole wheat flour. My favorite is einkorn, and I only have a little bit left. Do not forget the salt, or you will be sad. 3 teaspoons. Now, like I mentioned before, we do have a lot of new viewers to the channel. Welcome. If you are unaware, when I post my end of the week vlogs that tend to show a lot of different things in a little bit less detail, if you are interested in things like how to make sourdough sandwich bread or steam canning or exactly how we ferment our hot sauce, I do have full comprehensive videos on all of those topics and many more. So if they are relevant to the video, I will make sure to link those things in the description box down below. Good morning, sweet girl. Good morning. Hello. Someone's already jumped up on my clean shirt. It's okay. It's why you'll see me sometimes wearing the same shirt 2 days in a row. If I haven't gotten it dirty the day prior, it's gonna get dirty on day 2. I have started feeding out hay out here. It's the same kind of crappy quality hay, so they've wasted a lot of what they don't want to eat. That's fine. It just needs to get out of the hay barn at this point so I can fill it with better stuff for the fall time. But I thought it would be fun to kind of end the video with another goat walk, except for now the field is mowed. I did have him leave like a big chunk in between so that the goats basically have a pathway to the pond. I didn't want them having this just bare strip that they didn't feel like crossing in order to get to the good stuff. So there's still some longer scrubby stuff that leads out to the pond, but then on either side of this field, this is where he mowed, because that's where most of the broom sedge is. This area, we call this the hill because there's a little bit of an elevation increase right here. I think this is part of where when they dug this pond out, they put some stuff here, so it's elevated a little bit. And this area does have some of the better fall and winter grasses, so I'm excited to see this green up. For now, it does look like leaves are the choice forage out here. Oh, have you found a corn husk? It looks like it. That must have blown in from next door, huh? And I'm also not sure if you're noticing how much better Molly is fitting in now versus, you know, just a handful of days ago. She's getting beat up a lot less frequently. Looks like the pond filled up a little bit, but not completely. It will refill pretty easily and pretty quickly as long as we get a decent amount of rain. This pond is the low spot for all of the surrounding property, so everything does drain down into it. And we are forecasted to get some rain, some more rain that is, over the next few days, which I look forward to so much, especially now that the field has been mowed. What are you girls doing? Y'all are cute. These pregnant ladies, they're trying. Oh yeah, something that I didn't film this week because it's physically impossible to film everything is I did rerun Molly's fecal 10 days after she had her sidectin. There was only 3 eggs on the slide, which is good. What we hope for is at least an 80% reduction in the egg count, and we definitely got that. She had 34 eggs on the slide previously. So we'll just keep watching her, but she should gain weight and be able to breed this month. She has already gained quite a bit of weight, so I've got high hopes for this girl. Ow, got my finger with that one. I'll be out with grain in a little bit, okay? Now with the intermittent cloud cover that we're supposed to get over the next few days because of the rain, it's going to be really helpful for the seedlings that I just stuck out here without acclimating them to the sunlight. I do have this 30% shade cloth over the greenhouse, and in the morning time, these particular seedlings that are on this side, they are shaded out by what's here on the trellis still. So they should do just fine, but here's a size difference. We just planted these guys yesterday from the seedling pot, and then these guys we planted last week. See the size difference? Isn't that crazy? They've grown a lot. I have noticed some what looks like roly-poly damage for the radishes that I planted in here, so that's kind of sad. Like I used to have more of the red radishes in here, now I just have a few. But I threw down some Sluggo, that's what that is. It's an organic slug, snail, and roly-poly control. That may have been what initially took down the melons that I planted over here, but I think this guy is gonna be okay. We'll see. There's some space over here for me to put something else, and I do have these kind of misfit brassicas that got shaded out by the others inside the seedling tray, and so I'm just gonna leave these guys in here and keep them watered. They'll catch up, and I'll be able to plug those in where there's space as things inevitably come out of here. So it's fall time. What is next? Now I did just pull out one of many bags of rabbit hides that I had in my freezer, and so I am going to be getting to work on these, and I have cleared out the freezer entirely of all the elderberries. I've got a little bit more juice that I think I want to make some gummies with. I still have some goat tallow to render before we put more goats in the freezer. I still have a lot of onions that need processing because I'm not going to be able to get through all of these before they go bad. And it is also mushroom time. I've got some lion's mane back here and some more chestnut mushrooms. So we should be making a harvest sometime next week. But the big one I think is goat breeding. It's September. We like to breed in September, so we have February due dates, give or take. I don't like to have them kidding too late into the season because then we're just into like coccidia and worm season, and I try to get a little bit ahead on that so that the kids are growing when it's kind of cold, but that's good for them, mostly because the parasites aren't out when it's cold. But yeah, I've got to sit down and do a little bit of math, figure out when I can stick these groups together. I'm very excited.